20 mark question is extremely important if you are looking forward to get a 9 in this modification, this paper, right? Because it's 20 mark. And 20 mark question is pretty much easy. Only thing is you need a bit of organization, bit of analyzing and work to be done, right? So I would suggest as it is obvious, I would suggest that you try this at last. Keep it to the last, right? And for this one, I think you need at least 20 minutes because it involves, using most of the techniques that you have learned in computer science, arrays to file handling to, most of the things, and nested loops to everything. So let's take this one, 2019. That's question 5, right? Now you can see there's a text file as well. So there should be a text file handling question. Right. Let's analyze the question and highlight the important parts of this. She wants a program to, is a librarian. She wants to who is this? Is this Janisha Manishika? Is this Janisha Manishika who just joined in?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you properly, but I think I heard Janisha's voice.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. She wants a program to analyze pupil use of the library. She wants to encourage reading by awarding gold, silver, bronze medals to the 3 pupils who have read the most books. Test data has been included in the code. Open Q05 in the coordinator, the right program to calculate and display the total number and average number of books pupils have read. That's the first thing. The IDs of pupils who have read fewer than 10 books. The details of gold, silver, and bronze medal winners. Your program should function correctly even if the number of pupils in the file is changed. All right. Right. So first I'm going to show you doing these one by one, right? And then I will give you the chance. So first watch and answer the questions. We'll discuss this while I'm doing it. So I'm going to open Q05. Again, before you start, you better analyze this. You can see it's a 2D array. Can you guys tell me how many, now if it is 2D array, we have rows and columns, right? Can you tell me how many rows and columns do we have in this 2D array? How many rows and how many columns are there? Yeah. How many rows and how many columns? Anyone? Well, there are 20 rows. How do you know 20 rows? Because in a 2D array, it's an array of arrays, right? Now, these are the individual arrays. right? This is one individual array and this is another individual array. These are 1D arrays. So there are 20 1D arrays and they represent rows. So if you take these, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 rows or 20 1D arrays. How many columns are there? Columns are the number of elements in each 1D array. If you take this as one as 1D array, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, four elements, which means 4 columns. So it's a 4 by 20 2D array, which means there are 80 elements in this. Understand? Is that clear? Yeah? All of you? Dulanga, is that clear? Shashwint?
Yes.
Ganesha Manishika?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the total and the average of books, right? But before that, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to implement this step by step. I just want to output only these numbers, right? The numbers, number of books that pupils have read. I'm not looking at total. I'm not looking at average. I'm just going to output these values, right? So this, we can use a for loop. We can use for loops in two different ways. One is for index in range, or else for record in library record. There are two ways of implementing this, using in range, or the other effective way is straight away looking at the 2D array. So then it goes like this. For you can use a variable like record. I'm not using index here because I'm not looking at the index. I'm just reading each row at once. So I'm going to call it record, or you can even call it row. For record in, you don't put range, just put the name of the 2D array straight away, like that. For record in library record, record is a variable, library record is a 2D array. So now what happens is it will read each 1D array into this variable called record. For record in library record, colon, and I'm going to print. Now, remember, this record is now having a 1D array. If it is a 1D array, I can use the name of the variable, that's the 1D array name, with a pair of square brackets. And inside that, I can specify a number to refer to each element. So this will be the 0th element. This is the first element, second element, third element. In fact, those are the columns. 0th column, first column, second column, third column. So I'm going to put 3 to get the number of books read. Now I'm going to see the output. Well, in the exam, remember to save this as Q05 finished before you start your work. Why? Because then you have the original file as a backup, just in case if you need a backup, right? So do not overwrite the original file, just save it first and then you do editing, right? Okay, now if you run this, there you go, right? You must see all the 20 values, right? So once I get it confirmed that I can access all these values, right? It's just a matter of getting the total, right? So I'm going to have a variable called total equals 0 and average equals 0, right? Now what do you need to do when you're accessing each value? You're going to add it to the total. You don't need to print, right? Rather, you can add it to the total straight away. So total equals total plus record 3. Now, at the end of the for loop, we will have the total calculated. So here we have the total. We can calculate the average now. Total divided by what? 20. 20, right? They said this should work even if you what did they say? They said they should work even if the number of pupils in the file is changed, right? Not the number of records. So therefore, we can put 20. Otherwise, just in case if they said, okay, this should work even if we enter more records or more 1D arrays into this, or more records of students, then of course you can't put 20 because 20 is a fixed number, right? Then you have to put length of the 2D array. Now, length of the 2D array is the number of elements in the 2D array. What are the elements in the 2D array? Elements in the 2D array would be these 1D arrays. What are the elements of the 1D arrays? These individual values inside the 1D array, right? These 1D arrays will become elements for the 2D array. These individual values will become elements of each 1D array. So if you put length, it will count the number of rows or the number of 1D arrays. All right, now let's print the total. Do they want us to print the total? Calculate and display, yes. So total number of books read, total, print average number of books read, average. All right, let's run and see. There you go. Okay, if you really want to check whether this is correct, what you can do is you can simply add these numbers here. 25 plus 5 plus 12 plus 58 plus 26 plus 29 plus 94 plus 50 plus 61 plus 10 plus 49 plus 68 plus 11 plus 61 plus 9 plus 74 plus 42 plus 55 plus 68 plus 39, 846. So the average should also be correct. All right, understood? Do they
Yes, sir.
want us to explain the code? Not really, but I think it's better you explain the code wherever possible. For example, here I would say access each 1D array. Right. And here add number of books to total. Right, it will have an advantage for you, right? Understand? Is that clear? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's your turn now. Can you? I would suggest that you just look at this for a few seconds or minutes and then try it on your own. Whenever you are stuck, you look at this. That will be better than copying this straight away, right? All right. Go ahead.
So, what is this paper?
This is 2019. I shared all the papers except 2023. I think Shashwin has shared it. I will. Shashwin, did you share it in the group or you send it to me directly?
Yes, sir. I shared it in the group.
Right. So in the group, we can download 2023 paper as well, right? All right. Go ahead. Right. Now I already know how to get each column. So knowing that, I can easily find the IDs of pupils who have read the less than 10, right? IDs of pupils who have read less than 10 books. Right. So again, I'm going to use a similar loop. I can use the same variable, doesn't matter because this has been already done, right? By the time we come to line number 36, record in library record. Right, this time I need an if statement. If, right, less than 10, is it? Fewer than 10 books, right? If, how do I access the number of books read, that column? Record. What's the number? Yeah, what's the number? Column number?
3.
3. Yeah, column number 3. And if it is less than 10, print what? Record column number. You need the IDs. What do you need?
0.
0. Good. Excellent. Let's print a title as well, right? Print IDs of pupils who have read fewer than 10 books. All right. Library record is not. Library record R should be capital. Oh, this needs to be printed only once, so it shouldn't be inside the loop. It should be outside the loop. There. All right. There you go. Right. Shall I explain the other two as well? Then let's see. You can do it at once, no? Right. The details of gold, silver, bronze medal winners. Right. So if you look at the numbers, you can see we have the gold winner here, 94. We have 74. And we have 68. 68, there are two 68s. Now it's not really clear whether we will need both 68s here. But generally we need, isn't it? Okay. So the technique for this is linear search. You have to go in searching one by one for the largest value, right? So the method is this: you take the first one and you assume that it is the largest. And then you go on comparing each value. And if the other values are greater than the previous value, you're going to update, right? I mean, you assume that the first value is the largest, let's say max. And then if the next value is larger than this, you're going to update the maximum value. If it is lower than this, you're not going to update. So ultimately, once you finish the loop, you have found the largest value. That's for gold. When you're looking for right? So when you're looking for silver, you need to ignore the gold. So for the condition, you can put ignore the gold value. When you're looking for bronze, you can ignore the gold and silver both. That's the method, right? So let me show it to you. So this time I'm saying find gold. Right. So again, I'm going to use the same loop for record in library record. Right. For record in library record. Right. Before doing this, I need to have a variable for gold winner. At last, we need to details of gold. which means we'll have to get their name, and we need the value as well, right? One for value, one for the name, right? So gold value, and we need the gold name as well, because we need to record his name. We can't record the name at the end because it's a linear search. Linear search will go through all the records, and we should record the name then and there, right? Whenever we find a larger value, we should record the name. Right. So for record in library record, right? So if the number, this number, right? If this number, now I'm starting the maximum value or the goal value as 0, right? So now I'm going to check each and every number and check whether it is greater than that goal value. So if record 3 is greater than gold value, what should I do? What should I do? If record 3 is greater than gold value is 0, and if this value is greater than gold value, what should we do? We should I have assigned a 0 for gold value. I'm going to compare it with each and every value here. Each and every value here. The moment I find a value larger than the gold value, the current gold value, I'm going to replace the current gold value with that larger number. So what should I do? Record 3 is 25, gold value is 0. What should I do?
Gold value equal record 3.
Yeah, I mean, what should we do? If you just tell me what should we do? Don't think about the technique, right? Just think about what needs to be done first. I should replace or update the gold value. Think like that. I should update the gold value. So how do you do it? Gold value equals record 3. Understand? Right? Always when you're looking at the solution, you think of what needs to be done. Then you think of the technique, right? Because we can't by heart the technique. Okay, so gold value is replaced now. How do you do it? You put the record 3 value into gold value. So in the first loop, this 25 will be gone to gold value. In the next loop, it will compare 25 against 5. Now 5 is lower than 25. So it will skip. It will skip this as well. And when it finds 58, which is more than 25, what happens is the gold value will be updated to 58. Okay, Dulanga?
Yes, sir.
If you didn't understand, let me know. Janisha Manishika. Right. At the end of the loop, I'm going to check whether I'm getting the records right. Let's update the name as well, right? So whenever you find a larger value, you should record his name as well. So the name is in let's record the name, right? Name is in the first column and the second column. So I'm going to concatenate both. First column will be concatenated, that is plus record 2. So the first name and the second name will be concatenated, right? Here, and it will be stored in gold name. So at the end of the for loop, I'm going to print and see whether I'm getting it right. Print gold I'm just outputting the value just to see whether I'm getting it right. Gold value and print gold name. Right, let's run and see. 94 is correct. Is it Abdul someone? Abdul Rahim? Yes, that's also correct, right? But you can see that it doesn't print a space, so I'm going to print a space as well. All right, now it's fine. Well, first one is the first name or last name? You don't say, no? I think Abdul Rahim, Kalik Anthony. Yeah, it should be the other way, right? It should be the first name and this should be the second name. Right. So we got it. Understood? Understood the technique? Janish Manshi?
Yes, sir.
Dulanga? Sashin?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's so easy, right? Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to find silver. Then I will give it to you. Find silver. All you got to do is just duplicate this, right? Saves time a lot. Just duplicate and change the values. This is gold value. This should be silver. This one silver name. For record in library record, if record 3 silver value. Right. Here we need to do a small change. Since you're getting part marks for this, it's important that you try your maximum, right? Even if you can't get everything right, doesn't matter because you're getting part marks. That's why you should leave time for this, at least 20 minutes or half an hour, and try this question at last. Okay, now what needs to be done here? When I'm checking whether record 3 is greater than the serial value, I need to tell the program not to consider, right? Not to consider the gold value, right? Because otherwise, what will happen? It will print the same record, right? Like that. So I need to tell not to consider 94. So how should I do? And put and then let's say record 3 is not equal to gold value, not equal to gold value, right? So gold value will be 94 there, not equal to gold value. So this time it should be ignoring the gold value. Okay, let's see. Dose and Kevin. That's 74, right? 74. Dose and Kevin. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Right. But you should be having a doubt right now or a question. That is, what if you have the same number twice? Well, then of course it will be a bit more complicated because this is recording only one name. We'll try it as an improvement, but for this particular question, I don't think we need to consider that because they have given 20 marks, enough 20 marks for this, right? To look for these criteria. But we'll try it as a secondary or an extended question, but we'll first get the first 3. We will have a problem here, 68. If you can display 68, both 68s, that would be fine. But even if you display the first 68, that's okay. Right? So first we'll do like that, and then we'll see whether there's an improvement to get multiple, to get records of multiple values if they have the same value, right? Duplicate values. Right. So that's the method you should use for bronze as well. So when it comes to bronze, you should ignore the gold as well as the silver. Right. So can you try now? In the meantime, I will complete bronze. Let me send you a screenshot of this. If you have any questions, any doubt, let me know. If you want me to explain it again, let me know. Right, start. First part means you are printing 94, 74, and the first 68.
Yes, sir.
Did all of you get it? Does it work for you? Dulanga, Janisha, Shashin?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Shashin, Janisha?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So I came up with a very smart technique. Let me show you. All right. What I did was this. Right. This time I'm not recording the name. In the first loop, I'm not recording the name. I'm just recording the highest value. Just to find what is the highest value. Then I'm running another loop to pick the people using that highest value I just found. Right? It's same as before. Right? Nothing different. Except that I'm not recording the name of the person, because if I do that, it records only one person, right? So I just find the gold value, and then in the next one, I go on hunting for people. How I'm printing gold, then the same loop. If record 3, right? If record 3, I'm starting from the beginning. Record 3 equals gold value. So now I'm looking for 94, right? I'm checking each and every record and looking for 94. If 94 is there, I'm printing the name straight away with the score. Simple, right? So the first loop was used to find the largest value. Second loop was used to find the people who have the largest value, right? And if you duplicate the same for others, it's pretty easy, and you're going to get it like this, right? You get both 68. Now, just to confirm, what I'm doing is I'm going to put another record with 94, and I'm going to put another record with 74, and let's see what happens. I should get all the duplicate values. There you go. Got it? Did you
Yes, sir.
understand the technique?
Yeah.
Right? To be honest, I was struggling with this method for all this time. Now only it worked for me. After so long, it worked for me just now. I don't know how I thought of thought of this. It just came up to my mind. So found it. So the first loop is finding the value, right? Everything is same, except that I'm not recording the name. Just finding the value. And then again, I'm running the loop from the beginning, printing the people who have that value. And that works. Only thing is we are having 3 more loops, 3 extra loops. Maybe there's another method to make it more efficient, but this is fine. This is fine, and we have satisfied every requirement in this question. Right. So can you update your answer and get duplicate records as well? Just try duplicating gold and silver also, right? I need to change this to silver. Silver. All right, go ahead. Highest total sales for sales. All right, so the first one will be first highest. Right, so highest total sales, we'll call it 1 is 0. For sale in staff sales is the 2D array, right? Yeah. If total greater than highest sales. Yeah, we need to look at the total, right? Why are you taking the total straight away? This has already run. Okay, so when you take total here, it'll have the last total you had in this loop. Right, so it's better to get the total again, right? Or else, yeah, let's get the total again, right? Total sales equals, this one is fine. Adding all the columns. Right, and then total sales should be compared with the highest total sales. Highest total sales, I called it 1, then that will be equal to total sales. Right, so that should be finding the first highest total. But we need to record the name, right? We need to record the name, so we need the highest one name. So I'm recording highest one name here. Since we don't need to look at the duplicate values, it doesn't matter. Highest one name. We need to output, what do you need to output? First name and the last name, right? So first name is first column, and so that's sale 1 concatenate with sale 2, right? Okay, so you find the first highest. To find the second highest, you can do the same thing. Second highest. I'm duplicating the same code. This time I'm going to name this as 2. Change the relevant ones. All right. Now after that, let's output, right? Print the first highest total sales were made by highest one name. And second highest total sales were made by highest 2 name. Okay. Right. So what's the mistake I did? Can anyone tell me the mistake I did?
Did you put the print inside the loop?
No. See, I have got Samira Beckel twice.
Oh, you didn't put.
I
Oh,
didn't.
you didn't say it
Yeah.
shouldn't be equal to.
Well, I didn't ignore. I didn't ignore Samira Beckel in the second highest. In the second highest, I should ignore the first highest. Okay. So how can I ignore it? I need to put and here and total sales not equal to no, I can't take total sales, right? Because it's the same oh yeah, total sales not equal to highest sales one. That is Samira Beckel's total sale. So I need to ignore this guy. Ignore the first highest total when I'm finding the second highest. That's what we did in the last one as well, right? There you go. Felix. Should it be Felix? Yeah, right? 35,000. Yeah. Okay, so remember that, right? We didn't want to check duplicate values. What did you do last time? I mean in the previous class, 2019 paper, what did you do? We didn't record the name. Instead, we found the highest total, and then we had another loop to check for duplicate values, and there we recorded the names. But in this case, we don't need to look at the duplicate values. They have mentioned it. Therefore, I can straight away record the name when I'm finding a higher value. But in the second loop, when you're looking for the second highest, you need to ignore the first highest. Even if there are duplicate values, you need to do that. All right. Dulanga, Janisha?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we have Dinu and Dihini also. We started doing 20 mark questions. Yesterday we did 2019, and I gave 2020 timed uh, with time. And today we are going to move on with the rest of the 20 mark questions, right? Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the next one with timing again. That's going to be we did 2019, 2020 we did, 2021. Let's take 2021 May, June one, right? Right. So we are going to time and do it. I'm also going to do it. And after the time, we'll discuss, right? This one. All the way down. All right. This one has a menu. It's a game, guessing game. Looks a bit tough. Anyway, we'll try. Here are the data files. Right. I think you have got all the data files. I shared all the papers, right? Are you ready? Once you have loaded, tell me. Give a thumbs up. Then I will start the timer. 2021 May, June, not November. Do you know you are fine, right? You have loaded Shashwin. What about Janich, Manishika? Have you opened the? Dihini is fine. Dulanga? Janich, Manishika?
So we don't have the
Yes, sir, I
data.
have.
Oh, you have?
So I opened it.
All right. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to close the screen because then you'll be seeing my screen because I'm also doing it. I will show you the time. Time to time, I will show you the time. Okay, I'm starting it right now here. Half an hour. Okay, go ahead. Time, I will show you the time, right? Don't forget to first analyze the question and underline the important parts before you start. You have 20 minutes. You have 14 minutes. And use waiting player name. Why? Because this is returning player name. It's returning player name. So that returning player name is getting stored in this variable. That's the first thing, right? Then elif menu choice equals 2. Again, you are calling guess capital, the next function. This was the trickiest part. And there also, they want you to return the final score. So it has something called question score. So we are returning question score. When it is being returned, it has to be held by a variable. For that, I'm using a variable called score. Well, that is also given. So both the variables are given. So score equals guess capital, player name equals add player name. That's the first part you have to do. Just this, right? And then you need to go into each subprogram Well, the first one is pretty easy. You ask for the player name and then you return player name. That's all. So that's what you just saw. Okay, let's see how the second option works. So I put 2 there. Now it's asking for the question number. 1, capital of France. Okay. Question number, I'll take 3. I'll get this wrong. It shows the correct answer. So I have selected 2 questions. I'm going to select the same question again, which is 3. You have already answered this question, select a different one. So I have basically answered only 2. This time I'm selecting question number 2, Spain. So I have selected 3. And here's the 4th one. Get it wrong. And here's the 5th one. Get it wrong. Right. 5 questions are done, right? Have we got 5 questions? This one is 1, 2, then 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now the menu option is 3, endgame. David, your score is 2 because I got only 2 correct, right? France got correct, Italy got, no, not Italy, Spain. That's what is needed in menu choice 2, right? Play, guess the capital. If player chooses this option, they must answer 5 questions. You saw I was answering 5 questions. Select the question number, answer by choosing the valid question number. Valid question number. Did I check valid question number? I think I didn't do that, no? What are the valid question numbers? 9. Yeah, that of course I didn't do that, right? Yeah, we'll fix that. Now see, I didn't cross-check with the answer and the question. I didn't cross-check. That's why I did not exist, right? So 5 questions, this is fine. Valid question number, this I didn't do. Each question can be selected only once. This is fine. Question should be displayed. That's fine. Capital name should be input. Score is incremented, and the correct answer must be displayed if it is wrong. That's fine. And the end game is also fine. Right. So end game, of course, it's nothing, because when you enter 3, as long as it is not equal to 3, it keeps going. The moment you enter 3 here, what happens is it'll exit the while loop, and that's where you can print out the player name and the score. Right. Also notice that in the print command, in the print function, if you want to join a string and another output, you should put plus or the concatenation, right? If you put comma, it doesn't work because it accepts only one parameter, right? So if you want to add a single parameter, but with 2 values, you can join the 2 with a plus sign. If it is a number, you need to put str and print it out. Otherwise, you will have to print this in two lines. Print this first and then print this. So rather, you can print it in one line by using plus, not the comma, right? We are used to the comma, but you can use the plus to join these 2. Right, now let me show you how this was done. Right, you can see the questions are there. It's in one array, countries are in another array, capitals are in another array. So all these are corresponding, should be having corresponding indexes. That means question number 1 corresponds to the country, first country, and the first capital. Question number 9 corresponds to the last country and the last capital. So they have the same, the corresponding indexes. Question count is 1 that was given. Question score was given. What I did was I created another array, a blank array, to hold the selected questions. to all the selected questions, right? Right. And then I started a while loop as long as long as question count is less than or equal to 5. It will start from 1 and continue as long as it is less than or equal to 5, which means it will go from 1 to 5. So that will make sure 5 questions are asked, right? Then you ask for the question number. Now this is where we need to validate the question number. We'll do it in a moment. If question not in selected queue, right? What does that mean? If this question number is not in this array, if question, no, you're used to in the previous 2 questions, you used in, right? When you were looking at an array, if record in, for recording, something like that. So you can check whether a value is there in an array simply by writing like this: if question in selected queue. When you put not in selected queue. So if the question that he selects is not in this one, you keep asking the question, right? If it is in the array, you go to else and you say you have already answered this question, select a different one. Okay, so this one checks whether this question is not in the selected question. So if it is not, you ask for the capital city of countries. See, I have used a concatenation countries question. If the question is 1, okay, there was a problem, right? Another problem is there. When I put 1, it asks for France. In fact, it should be England. Now, because question number 1 is England. Now, why is that? Because it starts with 0. So we'll correct that one and the validation, right? So anyway, I'm showing you the the technique. So what's the capital city of countries? Question. You put the question number and you search for the capital city of the country. So if you put 1 here, it should pick England, right? In fact, this should be looking at 0, right? So what you can do is you can simply -1 here. Then when he puts 1, we are looking for 0. 0 is England, but that is the first question, right? Then this is just to put a prompt, right? The colon. If answer equals capitals question, right? Same index. Now. So if this index is 0, if England's index is 0, then we should look for capitals 0 as well for London, right? So what we should do is we should -1 from that as well. So he's putting 1. We are looking at country 0. Country 0 means England. And then we are comparing it with capitals 0. Capital 0 is London. So if that is true, we increase the question score by 1. Else, we need to display the correct answer. So again, this should be -1. So if he enters 1, we should display capitals 0. Capital 0 means London. Understand? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. And once he has answered a question, whether it is right or wrong, we should increase the question count by 1. So this will increase the question count by 1. And what we do is we put that question into the selected questions. Right. So again, we need to put -1, right? 0. Right. We put that question number. We append that. So selected Q is the array name. Dot append. Append means you are inserting a value to an existing list. So selected Q dot append question -1. So 0 will be appended to selected Q. That's if the question is not there. If the question is there, it will say select a different one. So once everything is done, we are returning the question score. Right. What I missed was validating the number, question number. So when he enters the question number, I need to check whether that question number is within this array. So looks like I can use the same method, right? So let's use the same method. While question okay, I'm going to validate. I'm going to keep on asking the user to enter the correct or valid number, right? So this should be the other way. As long as question not in, question is the number. As long as question not in questions, this array, as long as a number is not in this array, what should we do? We should ask for the question again. Right. So instead of checking whether the question is there, I'm checking whether the question is not there. If the question is not there, I need to display the validation message. Validate question number. Right. So let's change the message. Enter a number between 1 and 9. All right. So if it is 9, we should be looking at the eighth place, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is done by deducting 1 from the question. Okay, so this is the validation part. Right, let's try it again. 1, add the player. 2, question number. I'm going to take in the same order. Okay, let's try invalid number, right? All right. 0, right? 1, perfect. Wrong. 2, wrong. 3, wrong. 4, wrong. 5, wrong. Perfect. Understood? Is that clear? Any questions?
Yes, no.
No. This one is checking whether the question is already answered. Right? It's not that difficult. I did a big mistake. I finished this within like 11 minutes, and then I was satisfied and kept quiet, but I didn't cross-check with this. So you notice that I have missed two important points. Right. So can you what shall I do? We have half an hour more. We'll do 1.5 hours today. So this code I will send it to you, so you can study it, understand, and then you can do the changes to your code. Let's do the next paper with timing, right? This one I will send it to you. Let me send you section by section. If you have any questions, let me ask. I mean, let me know. So here the thing is, most of the difficult parts were done, right? So what are the new things that we had to implement? We needed a new array to hold the selected questions. Then we had to have a while loop, which will count the number of questions. We had to have a while loop to validate the question number. Then we needed to check whether the question is already selected or not. Based on that only, we had to ask for the question. But there, we had an important thing because the question numbers were from 1 to 9, but the indexes were from 0 to 8. So we needed to deduct 1 from the question that he selects. And then the question count should be incremented. And then once the question has been asked, the question number should be added or appended to that selected question array. So selected question dot append question number. Else you have already selected, and then don't forget to return the score. And that's what you have to do in this function, right? Okay, let me share this. Right, so what's the other one? Other function is this one. Nothing much in that. So there, player name, you had to ask for the player name and return the player name. Right, you had to do 3 things here, right? The 2 functions and the main program. So what was expected in the main program? Main program, everything was given except for this one, checking menu choice, and based on that, calling the correct function. But remember, you need these 2 variables to hold the value that is being returned. So always remember, if you are calling a function, always remember that there's a value being returned. That returning value has to be stored in a variable if you want to use it further. And then when 3 is entered as the menu choice, this will anyway exit the while loop, and that's where you output the player name and the score. Okay, so you can easily get 20 marks there. And also try to implement it in steps. What I did was I started with the menu. This is where I started, this one. Right, then I went to this one. Then only I started thinking of this. Now, there also, what I thought first was counting the number of questions. Right, I didn't bother about any of these, just counting the number of questions. And then I thought, okay, how do you implement this one? Selected questions. And then I went to this one, and this, and then this part. And then only I thought of the validation. Okay, so I have sent you, you correct it and test it. Cross-check with the points in the question. Okay, now let me give you the next one, right, which is 2021 November. Again with timing, right? Open Q05 in the code editor, it contains an array of words. Okay, you can see we have an array of words. Accept the input of a word or the number 1 to exit. No validation of the input is required. So the moment you see that, you should think of while loop, because while is as long as, right? And then you can say as long as the input is not a word and not 1, continue the whole thing, right? Add your code here. That's all they have given. Display all the words in the array that have the same first letter as the word that has been input. Calculate and display the number of words in the array that begin with the same letter as the word that has been input with the same letter. Same first letter, you display all the words and then calculate and display the number of words in the array that begins with the same letter as the word input. That means not the first letter, no? No, that begin with the same letter. Display all the words in the array that contain the word that has, all right, so there you need to check the exact word. Calculate and display a number of words in the array that contain the word that has been input. The number of letters in the longest that contains a word that has been input. The number of letters in the longest word that contains a word that has been input. The number of letters in the shortest word that contains the word that has been input. All right. Display the longest word that contains the word. Display the shortest word that contains the word. Yeah, repeat until the user inputs number 1 to exit. All right. So, how many of you could get the complete answer done? Dulanga, although you sent me the work, I'm really sorry I couldn't check it. Were you able to get the final? Yeah. Were you able to complete everything?
No, sir.
No. Janice Manishika, you had a problem, no? And Shashint also, right? So looks like no one has been able to complete it. 100%. So let me show this to you. So the first thing is, when you look at here, accept the input of a word or a number 1 to exit. So as long as it is not 1, it is not number 1, and yeah, as long as it's not number 1. So either you should enter a word or number 1 to exit. That's what it says. So as long as it is not number 1 to exit, you should continue the loop. So how do you do that? You can use while loop. Right? So while, first you need to ask the user to enter the word. So I'm going to call it word input. No need int because it's not a number. Enter word. Right. So as long as while word is not equal to 1, since it's going to be a text, we need to put like this. Because anyway, when you put input without int, even though if you enter a number, that will be taken as a character. So if you're checking for the character, you need to have double quotes or single quotes. Right. So this is the main loop. Right. Now, what do we need to do? Display all the words that in the array that have the same first letter as the word that has been input. Okay. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now to access the first letter, any string that you input will be treated as an array, right? Any string that you input into a variable will be treated as an array, which means you can access individual characters using its positional value, right? So if I print like this, word 0, right? It's supposed to print the first letter of the word. Don't forget to save this as finished before you run it. Okay, so let me enter something like Okay, right. The thing is, it's continuously running without stopping. That's because I didn't ask for the input of the word inside the while loop. So it keeps on going. Right? There should be an input in order for this condition to be false. So now it keeps on running. If you want to stop this, you have to press Control C. Control C. Control C would give a keyboard interrupt to stop, right? Or else just close it. So what I need is the input again inside the while loop. Right now it will wait for the next input before checking this condition. All right. There you go. Right. Enter word. It prints the first word. Understand? That's the first thing you have to test. Right. Display all the words in the array that have the same first letter. Right. Now for that, we need to go and check each and every word in the word array. Not every word, the first letter of every word against the first letter of what you entered. So for that, we need to think of applying linear search. In linear search, we go through each and every value in an order. So to implement linear search here, you can simply use a for loop for index. I'm using index because it makes sense. I can access the index value. For index in range, and that will start from 0 to length of the word array, right? Length of word array. Right, you know that in for loop, it goes only one less than the upper boundary. So length of word array will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So it will go from 0 to 24. What should you do? We should check. So if word 0 equals to, right, how do you access individual elements in the word array? You need to use the name of the array, word array, and inside the brackets, can anyone tell me what should we have inside the bracket to access each and every value in the linear search or in this loop? Now here, of course, I put 0 because I want to access the first letter. But here, I should go through every word. I mean, forget about first letter. How do you access each word? How do you access each word? What should you have here to access each word? Wind, clear, pushy. What should you have? Don't think about yeah. What?
Index.
Index. Right. But what we want is the first. What we want is the first letter, right? So what I'm going to try is, I'm going to comment this one. And I'm trying to output the first letter of these words. Okay, so I'm going to try out a method, print word array. This is how you develop it step by step, right? Index, this will access individual value. Let's check it. Now that doesn't make sense, even if I enter value or not. All right, I did. Okay, Control C. Yeah, I should have this, otherwise it goes without stopping. Right, so it outputs all the words. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to output the first letter of each word. So if this is accessing each word, I'm going to try putting another square bracket and putting 0 to see whether it prints the first letter, because I assume that this is the word. This accesses the word. So I'm trying, not really sure. Perfect, it works. See, it was trial and error, right? Or else you can even do it like this. You can access each word, putting it to a variable, and then here you can use W seal. Even that is fine. Okay, understand? Do you understand that part? How we tested it and how we are developing this step by step. Yeah, Janisha, Manishika, Dulanga. Hello. This part accesses the word. If that accesses the word, I'm putting another pair of square brackets and putting the 0 to access the first letter in each word, because each word is read as an array, just like here, right? The string was stored in word. When I put word 0, it accesses the first letter of the word. Similarly, if this can access each word in the array, if I put it like this, it is going to access the first letter. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Manishika? Manishika? Shashwint? Dulanga? If not, let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Manishika, did you understand? If not, let me know.
Yes.
I will explain it again.
I understood.
All right. Okay, good. Right. So I don't need to print now. What I do is I'm going to use this inside this condition now. Right there. All right. So we need to print, isn't it? It says display all the words that in the array that have the same first letter as the word you entered, right? Okay, so I'm going to print the letter, the word, print word array index. Why index? Because it's the one which accesses the word, not the first letter. It accesses the whole word, right? This accesses the first letter. So if the two first letters match, it will output the word, right? All right. Wire. There you go. Do we have wind? Oh, why is there? Where? Yeah, why is there? So let's test it again with another word. Sober. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so the first one is done. Always it's better you explain. Checks the first letters. If you didn't get it, let me know. Display all the words in the array that contain the word that has been input. Display all the words in the array that contain the word. That's the whole word, right? That's the whole word, right? Is it Shashin? Dulanga? Janish Manjira? Does this mean the word? The whole word, not the first letter?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So then we need to output this in with some text, right? So here I'm going to print something like this. All words that match the first letter, and then I'm going to print. After printing everything, I'm going to print a line, just a line like this to separate the output. Oh, it should be outside, right? Should be here. After the no, after the for loop. Yeah, even this one. This one should be at the beginning, right there. This should be inside the for loop, but not inside the, no, it should be outside the for loop, right? Yeah. Oh, no, it's still inside the loop, no, so we have to take it out. All right. It's all trial and error. Perfect. All words that match the first letter, right? Okay, so now all words that match the word. Right, so I'm going to use the same method. Let's use the same. No, we need to use another for loop, right? Not the while loop, right? Right, so let's say another for loop. That's going to be after this one. And it's going to check the whole word. Right, so if you're looking for the whole word, you don't need this one, right? Because this is the one which is checking the first letter. And you don't need this either, because that's, again, the first letter. So it's simply if word equals word array index, print the word array index. Again, they want the word, right, that has input here. Display all the words. All right, and then we'll have this as well before the for loop. All words that match the word entered. And then we'll have a separator right there. And again, it should be out of the for loop. You can keep some spaces to separate these. That's perfectly okay. It improves the readability, right? Right. Now let's see. Same word. All right, you can see we get all the words with the first letter, and we get the exact word as well. And now it is asking for another word. That's what they will print. And let's try entering 1 to see whether it exits. There you go. If you enter 1, it will exit. Understand? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is done, this is done, and this is done. And this is also done. No, we didn't do this one, we did this one. Calculate and display the number of words in the array that begin with the same letter, right? Okay, so we'll do that also, and then I will let you do it before we move to the second part of this, right? So if you are counting the number of words that begin with the same letter, all you got to do is just have a counter. So let's have a counter. Count first letter words. Count first letter words. And then whenever you find a matching first letter that's there, you can increase the count. That's a short way of writing count first letter words plus, equals count letter first letter words plus 1. Plus equals 1. That is same as x equals x plus 1. increment the count. Right. So that has to be printed outside the for loop, right? The number. So that should go right there. So print you have, or there are, and remember I told you, like without using the comma, you can use the plus sign to concatenate multiple values, text, string, and numbers, right? Otherwise, it accepts only one parameter, so you can't really put more parameters there. So there are plus count first letter words, and that has to be string because we are concatenating. Plus is concatenating, so it has to be converted into string. And yeah, there are this amount of words, so we'll concatenate this as well, words in the array. There are yeah, first letter words. Will it make sense when you say first letter words? Words in the array that match the first letter, right? That match the first letter. All right, now trying to test it. Enter word. There are 4 words in the array that match the first letter. Correct, no? 1, 2, 3, 4. All the words that match the word entered. Yes. And we have the loop continuing, and if you press 1, it will exit. Understand? Is that clear? Yeah. Any doubt? We have finished these 4 now. Number of words in the array that contain the word that has been input, that we didn't do, no? Number of letters, yeah. So before we move to the second part, can you guys do this 4 points up to this point, up to this one? Did you understand, by the way? Do you have any questions? Any? Zulanga? Is this different from the method that you used?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no? Then what about Janisha, Manisha?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
But did you understand this method
Yes.
perfectly?
Yeah.
Cool. Shashin?
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'll give you, can you guys open it again and implement this? Try without looking at this. I mean, you look at this, analyze it quickly, just read through it, and then try on your own. That's the method, right? And I will explain it as much as possible for you to understand. Right. Go ahead. Implement those 4. What are the 4? First, how do you do it step by step? First, you read a word, and then you try outputting the first letter of that word, and then you put the while loop as long as that word is not equal to 1, and everything goes inside that. That's the main loop, outer loop. And then you compare each and every word in the array, comparing the first letter of the word that you enter against the first letter of the word in the array. And then you print them. You have a counter to count the number of words, and then you have a separator here to separate the outputs, and you do the same thing for this one, except that you check the whole word in this case, not the 0th index. Right. Okay, go ahead quickly.
So if you want to check the second letter, we just put 1 next to the index.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, correct. If you want to check the first letter, second letter, put 1 there. Simple as that. So the concept is, the technique is that every string that you store in a variable is treated as an array, a 1D array. Then you know how to access individual characters. All right, go ahead. follow these standard procedures, right? Like keeping line spacing. We call it white space. They will be looking at those as well, and the comments. These are standard ways of writing programs. Is on the number of characters, right? Because we have words, so we need to count the number of characters. For that, we have len function. Okay, so we'll have two variables here. One is for longest word. We'll get the word first. If you get the word, you can easily output the number of characters now. So we'll find the word first. So longest word, blank, shortest word, blank. Okay, now what do you have to do? When you are checking, no, we can't take the word. We can't take the word, no? Because we are comparing the number of characters. Right? What we are trying to do is this. We are taking the number of characters in each word and comparing it with a variable which we set it as largest and shortest. Right? So we'll call this longest length. And this one will shortest length. It's not the word we are comparing the number of characters, right? Okay, so we find the word in the array. This word is inside an array word. We find it. We increment the word count. What should we do? Now it's like finding the maximum value or the shortest value in a numerical array. What do you do? Oh, this can't be double quote. It should be 0, right? Because it's the length. It should be 0, right? So what do you do now? If longest length, sorry, not longest length. If word index, length of word index, because this is where we access individual words in the array. So the moment we access individual words, what we have to do? We have to get the length of each word. So how do you get the length of each word? We put it into len function. Len word array index, right? That will return the number of characters in each word. If that is greater than the longest length, this is just like how we found the sales, maximum sales, remember? Just like that. Only thing is, these are words, right? So if that is true, what do? You update the longest length, with the length of the word. With the length of the word. Do you understand that? Why do you need to put it under this if? Because this is where we find our word inside the array word. If that is true only, we need to find the length of each word. Because we are finding the longest length of the word that contains our word. Understand? Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I'm doing a terrible mistake here. Can you recognize it? Can you identify the mistake that I'm doing right now? I'm assigning these two variables to 0 inside the while loop. Inside this for loop. So what will happen every time when it finishes this condition inside the while loop, this will be set to 0. That can't be right, because once we find the longest length, we should not change it, right? I mean, we should not change it to 0 again, reset to 0. Okay, so these two variables should be out of the while loop. Right, so don't worry, these variables are global variables. They can be accessed inside, anywhere within the program, right? So remember, those two should be outside. Now what happens is, here we are checking whether our word is inside the array word. If that is so, we increase the count by 1. Then we take the length of the array word, compare it against longest length, which is set to 0. If it is more larger, then we update the longest length with the number of characters in that array word. Right? Similarly, we need to find the shortest word as well. So if it is a shortest word, it will be len. If len word array index, this time it should be less than the shortest length. Right now, there's a problem. It's just like finding the smallest value in the range of numerical values. Can anyone tell me the problem here? It should be the exact opposite of this one. Length array word less than shortest length. But there is a problem. The problem is in the initialization.
Oh, it shouldn't be 0. It should be
Exactly. Well done.
something.
Yeah, it should be 0, right? Tulanga, understood? It can't be 0 because we are looking for the smallest, right? If you're looking for the smallest, we should start with the largest and then compare the next value. And if it is smaller, we update. If you are looking for the maximum value, we should start with the minimum value. So what can we assign here for the shortest length to start with? Well, just look at these words and just give a rough value, which you think will be the largest. Larger than any word here with in terms of number of characters. So I'm going to give like 50, doesn't matter, right? So the reason is to find the smallest, you should start comparing with the highest possible value. Dulanga, understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. I'm recording it, so I will publish the video today. So if you didn't really get it, you can go through it, right? So if len word index, that is the array word, is less than the shortest length, what do you need to do? You need to update the shortest length. Okay, now the problem here, okay, we'll run it and see. I'm looking for sub, so it should output 3 as the smallest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the largest, right? Clear this sub. Okay, what's the problem? Len of this greater than, less than the shortest length. Is it correct? Not supported between instances, string and int. So one is giving string, the other one is giving int. What can be the problems? Must be one side should be one side is string, the other side is int. So longest length should be int, right? Because it's 0. So shall we convert this into int and see? Int. So it's pretty much complicated, this one. All right. So have you got it? Yeah, we didn't print now. So it worked. It didn't stop. That means this has been correct, right? So there you need to convert that into int, but it didn't output because I didn't print. All right. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what do they want? They want calculate and display the number of words. Sorry, number of letters in the number of letters in the shortest, and also the word. You need to output the word as well. So how can you output the word? We have got the length, but how can we output the word? How can we capture the word? Any idea? Any idea? How do you get the word? How do you get the word? This gets the length. How do you get the word? To get the word, we need to record the index. Why? Because this index will start from the first word and go to the end of the list, right? So by the time we finish the for loop, right? By the time we finish the for loop, we have reached the last index. So if you take the last index and output, that is not going to be the word we want. It's going to be swing. So the moment we find a sob, right, where the word is inside, we need to record the index. That is a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The moment we find this one, which is longer than sob, we need to record the index of that. And then when you are outputting the word, we can directly access word array with the index of this. Do you understand that? Why we should not output this index? Dulanga, do you understand? Janisha, Manishika?
Yes.
Janisha, Manishika? Shashwint? Why
Yes, sir.
why we should not output the value of this index? Janisha, Manishika? You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because by the time you finish the for loop, this index has gone from 0 to the last one, 24. So if you try to output the word, that's going to be swing. Word array 24 or index will be swing. So the moment we find the word, we need to record the index. That means we need 2 more variables, right? So they have made this really complicated. Longest word, longest index, or we'll say longest word index, right? And then we need shortest word index as well. Right. Now what you have to do, the moment you find the longest word, longest length, you need to record the index. Where do you do that? Right here, right? Equals to which one? This index. So you are taking this index value and storing it in another variable. Right? If you try to output this one only, it differs. But since you have recorded it already in another variable, we can simply output with this, right? So this is to record the index of the longest word. Right. This one is to record the length of the word. Similarly here, we need the same thing. Will that work? Yeah, hopefully. No? So we'll put the same comment. All right, now let's print it out. That should be the last print. So let's print it here. The longest word is how do you access the word? Can anyone tell me how do you access the word now? What's the name of the array? Come on, soon. What's the name of the array?
Word array.
Word array, good. And what are we going to use? Are we going to use index here? If you use index, that's going to be wrong, right? Because that will be 24. So we want this one, where we recorded the index at that time, right? And we'll also put width, a length of what? Longest length. Don't forget to convert that into string because you are using plus to concatenate. Right. Again, remember, if you are running out of time and if you can't do everything here, just forget about it. Right? Do it as maximum as possible. Right. So the second one is the shortest word. Word array, shortest index.